I was asked, Nicholeen, how do I discipline my child for bad behavior? Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and communications, family relationship strengthening, all through the lens of self-government. And on this video, we're going to be talking about how to discipline your child in a way that doesn't hurt them or you. In this video, I'm going to talk about what self-government is a little bit so that we're on the same page about where we're headed. And then I'm going to be sharing with you 4 principles that you can use in order to help discipline your child. You're going to want to pay attention to the end because at the end, I'm going to be sharing with you the steps to a correction that really will help you in those difficult moments. So everyone knows me for teaching the principle of self-government, but I didn't make it up. It's a real principle, been around forever. So what is self-government? What does that mean? Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is a person analyzes cause and effect, not just the cause and effect like if I throw it up, it must come down, not just Newton's laws, but also other laws that are cause and effect related, such as, if I yell at my child doesn't trust me. They disconnect from me. I may get something done, but that doesn't mean that I've made any steps toward having a better relationship with them. We need to keep that in mind. And children do. They understand cause and effect. Like, well, if I don't do my responsibilities that my parent has told me I need to do, then do I recognize the effect of that is mom and dad don't actually trust me very much anymore either. So that's a natural cause and effect in some of these parent-child relationships that many people don't examine. So we've got to know cause and effect, but the second part is to understand our own behaviors. So we need to be analyzing ourselves and determining who we ought to become and then making plans as we head toward becoming that version of ourselves that we know will lead to the greatest joy. So how do we discipline children through this lens of teaching them cause and effect and analyzing their own behaviors so that they can have a change of heart and choose self-government for themselves? Well, let's talk about that. A person who is self-governed prepares ahead. This means that you don't wait until something bad happens in order to get into a disciplined mindset. What you do is you decide, okay, we need to teach cause and effect. We've got to make sure that we have consequences arranged ahead of time should something ever happen. A good leader is always prepared for the what ifs. So we know children aren't perfect. In fact, there's no such thing as a perfect child, but that's not what we're creating anyway, right? We are creating joyful adults who know what their mission in life is, can't wait to fight for it, and have solid relationships with God and family. At least that was my mantra that I always told myself. That's what I'm making. As I was taking in treatment foster children and working with those youth ages 12 to 18, and as I was raising my own 4 children, I maintained they weren't going to be perfect all along the way, but I did know that I was heading toward a certain kind of adult that was going to be truly magnificent. And sure enough, they made incredible strides toward that goal of that kind of an adult, and I can say we've had great success. So prepare ahead, prepare your mindset, prepare the children, prepare everyone so that you have the skills that you need for success. In the Teaching Self-Government course on teachingselfgovernment.com, I teach certain skills. There are skills that the children need. We call those the 4 basic skills. I also teach 5 skills for parents so that the parents can also be self-governing. So this is the thing. If you're going to teach a child to govern themselves, that means you need to be on that road to self-government too, so that you can be consistent and honest in all of your communications with each other. You won't have that calmness and that connection in those communications and corrections unless everybody is practicing the principles of self-mastery during the interactions. And it is possible to feel closer to your children during and after a correction than you even did before. So remember that you can have great bonding, connective experiences during a correction. Not only do we prepare with the skills that we need, but we prepare with what the structure or correction is going to look like. So in the Teaching Self-Government course, we have a chart. It's called the Choices Map. The Choices Map helps parents and children know when certain skills need to be used in an interaction. This keeps a visual in the minds of the children and the parents so that if somebody starts misbehaving or not using their skills, they know how to use their skills, or they know which skill to use to help get everybody back on track. Your children need to know how you will correct them and how you will praise them, when those things will happen, and if they don't accept their consequences, which is one of their 4 basic skills that hopefully they've already learned, then what you will do to help them become more in instructional control. So sometimes there's children who rage, they have tantrums, they go completely out of control. I have tons of videos on this channel about those types of things for strong-willed children and tantruming children, those kinds of things, and there'll be a lot more to come on this channel. But you definitely want to make sure that the child knows how you'll handle those situations, so you're going to be teaching that all ahead of time. This is all part of the prepare and the skills that your child needs for success. I was just talking about how many videos I have on this channel related to different behaviors and struggles you might be having. You are not going to want to miss those, and the ones that I am still creating that will come on this channel. So be sure to click the subscribe button so that you don't have to miss any of those really helpful videos that could save you from a lot of grief at your house. Many people won't think of this one. Now, this might be a tip that's a little surprising for you. In order to discipline your children for misbehavior, for things that they shouldn't be doing, it's really important that you praise all the good behaviors. Remember cause and effect. Good has to equal good, bad has to equal bad. They need to see the difference. So if you want your child to fix when it's time to fix, make sure they also see and feel what it feels like to be doing something good. So that means we do something called an effective praise. An effective praise is when you describe exactly what the person did, and then you explain why that was a good choice and how that can help them in the future. These types of praises acknowledge their effort and don't give them false, puffed up notions that somehow they're better than everybody else, which they know is not true, and they actually don't believe. This also puts additional pressure on them to try to deceive you into thinking they are the genius or the best or the most amazing or stupendous, because those words seem to lend themselves to being puffed up and looking better than others. So in your praise, talk about what they did, why this was good, how they're on the right track, how this is maturing, how they're learning self-government. Bring it back to the principle. Give them something they can hold on to. It will be very meaningful. It will touch the heart, and they'll want to repeat those behaviors. This is a great step toward making it so that they do not end up having those problems that need to be disciplined in the first place. Another thing that you want to do to help your child prepare to be successful is to pre-teach them right in the minute. So there are 3 different kinds of pre-teachings. There's instructional pre-teachings, situational pre-teachings, as well as preps. So when you are right in the minute and you are going to give a child an instruction to do something or tell them not to do something, you're going to give them a no answer. They have skills for how to do these things, but let's say that you think they might not be using their skills because they don't seem as focused right then you're going to prep them by telling them the skill they need and exactly how the interaction is going to play out, whether they choose to use the skill or not. This is going to prepare them for success in the future. But what happens if they aren't successful? Let's talk about that. We've got to get into correcting because that's a vital part of disciplining our children. Correcting children is important. Now remember, when you correct a child, it's all about having a change of heart and learning cause and effect and having an empowerment to control themselves more. So to have self-regulation and self-government, right? So when you correct your children, you should not be emotionally reactive. Don't take things personally when somebody does something they shouldn't have done or you told them not to do. Instead, decide to help them fix the problem. Be their advocate. Have a tone of acceptance, love. Be that teacher. Recognize your role is to teach and instruct, not to react and take things personally. That's nobody's role. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to describe the situation. You might start with a phrase like, just now I gave you an instruction and you didn't look at me, you didn't keep a calm face, voice, and body, you didn't say okay or disagree appropriately, so I can see you are not choosing to follow instructions. Then you say a rationale. When you choose not to follow instructions, we need to take more time to have these discussions and practice doing things the right way so that you're more successful in the future. And then you say what they should have done. So this is another description. Again, not reaction. So you say, what you should have done was you should have looked at me, kept a calm face, voice, and body, said okay or asked to disagree appropriately, done the task immediately, and then checked back. Then you tell them what they earned. Since you chose not to do this, you have earned an extra chore. So all negative consequences are presented in our family as you have earned, because it's their self-government. I'm not giving anything to them. It's not about me against them. That's not our roles. I'm just there as a guide and a teacher and a mentor along the way. I'm not there to battle them out over everything that they do and to just point out their flaws. I am an advocate for their success. So I tell them they earned something. That's just something that was set up ahead of time. They know they're going to earn that extra chore. They know how to do extra chores. They don't have anxiety associated with it because they've had plenty of opportunity doing extra chores in the past. So then they say okay, and then what you do is you praise them for saying okay, and then you do some practices the right way. So we call this practice time role play time. We do usually at least 3 practices doing things the right way, and sometimes we do some role reversal to keep that kind of fun. Throughout all of those role plays and that whole correction, we actually praise the entire time. Praise them looking at us, praise them being calm, praise them for knowing the skills. You might be praising your children 5 or 6 times during one correction, which is perfect because the ratio you should be following is 6 to 10 praises for every 1 time that you correct them. So that's a really great thing that you can do right in that moment. Now, I know some parent out there is thinking to themselves, yeah, but what if they don't care? What if they don't accept the consequence? What if they're not going to do the chore? What if they're like, to the hand, mom? Well, then you need something else. And this will be something that you've already pre-taught your children. In our family, it's called the rule of 3 if the children are over like age 6 years old. If they are younger than that, then we do a calm down place that is different than a timeout. You'll have to learn more information about that on the Teaching Self-Government course. But we do have something in place for that intensive teaching, and they know exactly what that's going to be like too. Families have to be prepared for how to handle the hardest minutes, even if they never come. That way the children always feel secure in your home, and you always feel confident and calm because you have the skills and the process in place to handle no matter what comes. This whole journey to self-government really started when I was doing treatment foster care for troubled teens. They were all between the ages of 12 and 18, and I knew that if I could teach them to control themselves, their hearts would change for life, and this was going to be enormous. Over time, the BBC asked me to be on a documentary called The World's Strictest Parents, actually, which is kind of fun. You can see that program on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com, if you're interested in that. But those youth came to my home thinking that they had to battle everything out with their parents. And when we taught them how we would handle even the most difficult situations, they all of a sudden felt peaceful and confident. And by the end of the program, they were begging not to leave our house. That is the power of creating a system ahead of time for how you will discipline the children. If you haven't done it yet, it's not too late. When the BBC brought those troubled teens to my house, they were both ages 17, and they were only in my home for 8 days. Those 8 days changed their lives. They actually went home and made huge adjustments in how they wanted to live their life. And they are different people just because they learned some basics of self-government and had some good family unity. If you would like more help with your self-government journey, I have a free gift for you. On my website, teachingselfgovernment.com, there is a Calm Parenting Toolkit, but I want to give it to you for free. So if you click the link in the description below to the Calm Parenting Toolkit, which I think is one of the top links in that description, then you will be able to get that Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. So click that link now and start that mini course and start your road to self-government.